Good day, and just what the hell are we playing today, ladies and gentlemen? Why, it's Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Now, this is one of the many classic games on the PlayStation 1 that I think I was aware of back in the day, but I do not think I ever actually saw it. That's one of the major things about a lot of these classic games here, is it was very famous in its day, but I never really cared about these. We're gonna skip past the cutscenes, as we often do, just so I don't have to try to find funny things to say about them. But this actually has a very interesting introductory here. Unlike with a lot of the other Castlevania games, actually no, Castlevania 1 kind of. Well, actually, unlike the other Castlevania games, just about all the Castlevania games have a little introductory. You don't just get immediately dropped right into the gameplay. But this takes place apparently at the end of Castlevania Bloodlines. Or potentially at the end of, this is technically a sequel to Castlevania Devil's Curse Rondo of Blood or something along those lines. This is supposed to take place immediately after that game. This, of course, is a very infamous and very famous cutscene.
You don't belong in this world.
It was not by my hand that I'm once again given flesh. I was called here by humans who wish to pay me tribute.
Tribute? You steal men's souls and make them your slaves.
Perhaps the same could be said of all religions.
Your words are as empty as your soul. Mankind ill needs a savior such as you.
What is a man? A miserable little pile of secrets.
Well, that's
but
pretty much true.
Talk. How about you?
And that's pretty much every average internet discussion these days. So yes, here we of course have the infamous introductory cutscene where you're supposed to fight Dracula. Honestly, I don't think that cutscene was that bad. The voice acting, I've heard a lot worse in terms of voice acting throughout the years. At least, the guy playing Dracula, I think he kind of got into the whole thing. Because he actually used some vocal inflection, so it's not that bad. And even then, I don't really have a problem with bad voice acting. Mainly because bad voice acting just really, if it's the good bad. There's always the so bad it's good. A lot of these PlayStation games had so bad it's good voice acting. And I've heard a lot worse voice acting in the modern era, and I forgot I could do that. I gotta actually remember the controls here, as I haven't played this in a little while. But yeah, you know, a lot of modern day voice acting is just generic, but back in the PlayStation 1 era, man, this voice acting was so memorable because it was so bad. It was good. It was gloriously bad. But even then, though, it still was memorable, even if it wasn't that amazing. Yeah, I'm not going to get down his first health bar, sadly. Actually, wait a minute. There we go. We got. I forget how to do half of these moves, though. So I'm not doing that bad. This is another really cool scene here. I mean, the whole game is actually really, really good, despite, you know, playing it in the modern era. So yeah, it's not like you can lose in the very first battle. Since this is supposed to be more of an interactive cutscene. I kind of like this concept here. It's not a QTE, it's not anything like that. It's actual gameplay. And yeah, I know it just skipped a bit, but I actually have a fan named Scuddy, I believe, who is sending me some RAM, because apparently that could be the issue with it skipping sometimes. So, hopefully that'll fix it. But not only do we have a really cool introductory cutscene, but now we actually have a little text scroll explaining what happened. If you've never played a Castlevania game before, this kind of explains what happened prior to this game. Now, of course, I love the fact that the Dark Priest is named Shaft, because once again, this is the 90s. They can pretty much say whatever they want back then, without having to seem not official, seem edgy, I'm trying to think of the right word right now. Everything, I'm not going to bother reading the text roll, just read it as you wish, just as I'm going to comment on it. Essentially, these days that name would be something fancy. It'd be like the Dark Priest Dragabulus or something. It always has to have an abulus at the end because it sounds extra scary. Basically, back in the 90s, they could actually just give him a name like Shaft, and Shaft is a much more memorable name than Dulabulus or something like what we'd get today. And that's the thing. Serious, that's the word I'm looking for. Everything these days has to be so serious. This is still serious, but there's enough funny bits to have it be even more memorable for it. I always like to talk about all these old games being memorable because they actually had a sense of humor And in some respects, they were actually self-aware. Every game now has to be the epic greatness of the justice. It's like, come on, lighten up a little bit. God damn it. Now, like, this is a very basic story, you know, it's good versus evil. Nothing too complicated. Really, I don't have that big of a problem with modern-day Castlevania games. Yeah, I know Castlevania 1... Well, I say Castlevania 1. Castlevania... I forget what it's called. The modern-day one. Maybe it was just called Castlevania. So you gotta love, this is basically just sort of a remake. Well, not even a remake, but this is the next-gen Castlevania game, and it actually has, you know, a subtitle. Castlevania Symphony, not just Castlevania. Although the N64 version technically did that, I will admit. But that's the thing I really do hate about modern-day remakes or updates or reboots, is they always have to just go back to the initial name, which just annoys the shit out of me, believe it or not. This is a very interesting introduction here. It's where you're all fully powered, you got all kinds of shit. Look at that. You got the Alucard sword and shield, dragon helm, the Alucard mail, twilight cloak, necklace of J, whatever that might imply. You don't have any relics, though, it would seem. Now, this game was very different from the other Castlevanias in that this is kind of well, it isn't kind of, it is. It's an action RPG in many respects, as you can level up it as you go through, which is really cool. It does give you a good sense of progression, and gives you an actual reason to fight the various griblets in the game. See, that's one of the things I find interesting, seeing as how I'm a very big RPG fan, you know, every time I have to fight enemies, it's like, well, what's the point of fighting them if I don't get any points out of it, you know? And see, there we leveled up. Sweet. Not that it matters, because one of the interesting things about this is this game is very much like Metroid. Now they call it Metroidvania, but Metroid had been doing this for years prior to this, and it's not like, as far as I know, at the very least, this game does anything different from the Metroid series. They just kind of call it Metroidvania, I guess, because it's got so popular and so it was so enduring. But this was a game well, since I didn't have a PlayStation, I wouldn't have really cared back in the day about it, because there was no way for me to play it. Because back in the day, now, like these days, everybody's got to have the 2 consoles or 3 consoles that comes out, but back in the day, you had 1. And then we have Death, not voiced by Patrick Stewart this time.
Ah, Alucard, what is your business here?
I've come to put an end to this.
Still befriending mortals. I'll not... Ah, Alucard, not ask you to return to our
Well, that was weird. That was another weird error, but hey, it happens.
I will not.
You shall regret those words. We will meet again.
Get sort of an Irish death there, which I find quite amusing. And then, like in any given Metroid game, your stuff is taken away almost immediately, and you're left with just some fists. And you've got none of your special abilities, nothing. So really, this is not, you know, this is not advancing anything in the Metroidvania. Well, it's not advancing anything to where you could actually add Vania to the end, because this is still straight Metroid. Even the map looks like a basic Metroid map. I do like the map in this particular game just because all you gotta do is hit select and you can immediately bring it up. And we will beat the shit out of the skeleton here and immediately grab the short sword. You actually use this weapon if you don't know where everything is, and I don't know where anything is in this game because I've only played it once. If you don't know where anything is, you're pretty much going to be using this for a while. Now, like, if you know where you can find everything, then, you know, you can easily find all the good shit immediately. Red Rust is completely useless, or there could be some use for it, and I just don't know it. Get the Cube of Zone, of course, that is a relic, and I think it auto-equips, and it does. What does it do? Causes items to materialize. And that's where, so at least it explains why, you know, you hit a candle and it drops, like, some parts. But still, though, this is an absolutely excellent game. This is one of the big problems I have with the whole nostalgia thing is that, and of course, here's the save room, exactly like Metroid. And one of the good things about saving in this game is it actually does give you health. I think that happens in Metroid, or that could have been I don't think in Super Metroid that you actually heal when you save. So this could be like one minor, you know, advancement that this game has. But I intend to review this in 2017. Of course, just like in Metroid, there's walls you can't get past, or you need a special item to get past them. I mean, this is basically just Metroid, you know, with Alucard here instead of Samus Aran. I've always wondered why they never did make a Metroid game in the late 90s. They didn't. Samus Aran showed up in Super Smash Bros., which was a very good game, I might add. But we didn't get a legitimate Metroid until Metroid Prime. They completely skipped the N64 era for whatever reason. So I guess if you were a big fan of the Metroid series, you would definitely have enjoyed Castlevania. I think I would have enjoyed this game to a point. Metroid and I have a very, like with so many games, Metroid and I have a real love and hate relationship. On the one hand, I like Metroid, I like what it does. On the other hand, it pisses me off to no end. It annoys the shit out of me, ladies and gentlemen, as so many games do. You know, one of the reasons why Metroid annoys the shit out of me is because I never was able to finish Super Metroid. I had that back in the 1990s. I remember quite specifically going to Target. That Target no longer exists. It's now a gym. We were going there, and my mother getting it for me, and I was so excited to finally play this Super Metroid game, and I could never find the goddamn Super Bombs. And you need those to progress in the game. Never could find the fucking things. Ever. Hey, another save slot. Why not? I never found them. I looked everywhere for them, never could. And so that was a game that I just couldn't finish as a kid, because I couldn't find them. And game facts and Let's Plays and things of that nature, they didn't exist back then. If you couldn't figure out where you're supposed to go in a game, you just were shit out of luck, as they often like to say back then. And that's what happened to me. I just could never finish Super Metroid. And I've tried. It's one of those games, like, okay, of all the games that I hate, I always seem to want to try to actually complete one. Because, like, with Super Metroid, never could finish it. And what was one of the first games I got when I got my GBA SP? It was the first edition of the SP, by the way, not the SP Plus that had the backlit, so it was frontlit. First game I got, Metroid Zero Mission. Guess what? I never could figure out where I was supposed to go at a certain area in that game either. Never could finish it. Let's see. Metroid Fusion was the only Metroid game. It's to this day pretty much the only Metroid game I've been able to. No, I don't want to change that for the letter shield. Is to this day pretty much the only Metroid game that I have completed. All the others I've gotten close to completing. Pretty much to the point where if I wanted to review them, I would. But I have not been able to actually fully complete the entire game because there's always some area or some item that I can't find, and it's just I just give up eventually. Metroid Prime, bought that when I got the GameCube and couldn't ever finish the bloody thing because I could never figure out where I was supposed to go. It's yet another instance of can't find where I'm supposed to go. So as much as I like Metroid, I also hate it too because I never can finish the bloody things. And I've played actually I'd say I've played pretty much all of them except for the ones immediately after Metroid Prime. And I haven't been able to finish a single one, sans Fusion. And yet I like this style of gameplay. I love non-linear games where you have to find all the items and everything. I especially like this game a great deal. This game I actually was able to figure out well, I say I was able to figure it out. You can imagine I went and had to go to, resort to game facts and things of that nature to figure out where the fuck I was supposed to go, but still, it's a very, very excellent game all around. The developers of this did, like, this is like, well, one of the things, god damn it, one of the things that the developer of this particular game, whose name I can't remember at the moment, he wanted a game that would last a really long time. And this is a game that can last a really, really long time. Because like back in the day, or even even today, you know, these games aren't cheap, you know. And so like the Order 1866 having like 5 hours of gameplay or something, that is ridiculously short. I mean, why bother buying it? Or why bother? That's the thing about the whole pre-order thing. I can see why Cynical Biscuit likes to complain about it. Because why would you ever pre-order a game like that? Wait till it's used. That's why they want to get rid of the used market. It's like, wait till it's used so you can get it for cheap. Because that game is not worth full price. Oh, goddammit, I didn't mean to go in here. Shit, and I didn't save. And I'm actually doing another playthrough of this just on my own time. Yeah, fuck it. No, we'll do it legit, because I'm doing a playthrough of this on my own time, and I really, really don't want to have to redo the save. Nah, well, that... See, these pauses are getting way worse now, which kind of sucks. I'm not really sure why. I guess it could be that I have some programs open behind this, but god damn it, I'm sucking so bad right now. Yeah, well, we have a legit save, so we can still use it. Yep, there I go. There I go. We'll kill these guys. Ah! Let us go out for the evening of pleasure. The night is still young. Well, that's, you know, Drac, I don't really need to know when you go into the Gentleman's Club, okay? It's not something I care about. Alright, let's see here. Let us reload a legitimate save and then save closer to that boss room. I forgot where that was. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm playing a lot more PlayStation 1 these days. That's the Outer Wall. Alchemy Laboratory. Yeah, so, but what, the only thing I don't necessarily like about a lot of these older PlayStation games is the fact they always take you back to the main menu. It's like, why not just immediately reload the save from where you saved last? I just don't understand what the point of that is. But it's a good thing that old Suddy is sending me that new RAM, because I guess it's getting worse, or it could be another problem entirely. There's always problems when it comes to doing stuff on the PC. But hey, that's how it goes. Well, we're really far back. But we will call it an episode after we kill that boss. Now, I don't think we're going to do a full Let's Play of this either. I just kind of want to talk about it. I think that's going to be how a lot of these Let's Plays go. Is I'm just going to talk about a lot of these games versus actually finishing them. Because these are long bloody games. There'd be hundreds of episodes to sit through. That would probably take a little while, I would think. Now, of course, I am going to get back to Return to Castle at some point. I definitely am going to finish that one, but right now I kind of want to just play a few of these other games. Because this is a game that if you haven't ever played it, it's definitely one you owe to yourself to play. Be it, you know, on the EPSXE emulator, which is what I'm using now, or you could get it on PlayStation Network, although I wouldn't really recommend that because you're just going to be using like PlayStation level textures and things. Well, these are still PlayStation level textures, but it's a little bit scaled up. Really, the EPSXE emulator is absolutely excellent when it comes to making some of these PlayStation games look a little bit better. I do know that the PS3 will make the games look a little better as well, because I did play Final Fantasy VII on that particular machine for a little bit until it died. I'll actually be mentioning that in a review that's going to come out a short time after this particular playthrough is recorded. But yeah, you know, Final Fantasy VII is not a bad game either. Just about, the PlayStation has a really, really good library. There are, of course, some shitty games on it, but not as many as you would think. And especially from these really good third-party groups. It's something that one of you guys was talking about in the comments a while back, where pretty much back in the day, if something had Konami or Capcom on it, you could pretty much expect it to be an amazing game. These days, not as much. I mean, these days I'm very cynical when it comes to these new games coming out. Especially like Call of Duties and stuff like that. Yay, we can actually save closer. You know, it used to be Call of Duty, well actually even back when I was into Modern Warfare, I wasn't thinking like it's going to be the greatest game ever. Just like, well, here's another game I can play with my various friends. That's about it. BioWare, that's the one. BioWare was pretty much the last company I was really, I couldn't wait for their releases to come out. Like Mass Effect, we'll actually go fight that boss a little bit later. Might do that in the next episode. By which I mean, I forgot there was a magically sealed door. Once again, straight from Metroid, you know, yeah, it says magically sealed, but whatever. Metroid was like that long before this game was like that, but still though, BioWare was pretty much the last company that I was really, really excited about. You know, it's like when Mass Effect 3 or Mass Effect 2 was coming out, you know, it was like, well, Mass Effect 3 was the last game I couldn't wait to play. And already with Mass Effect, Dragon Age 2, I was pretty much already, you know, pretty cynical about them. And I know I haven't mentioned the music, but god damn, this music's great. Like, you gotta love the 90s with its heavy metal. Now it'd be like some sort of rap song, or, excuse me, hip-hop or pop. It's like, you know, give me some fucking heavy metal, motherfuckers. God damn it, I have to turn around in time. We're gonna be playing this game legit as much as we can. If only because I don't want to lose my save on my further along playthrough. God damn it, I didn't mean to do that. But this game is absolutely excellent in its base gameplay, its music, its presentation. Alucard's a cool guy. It's like, this, in many respects, could be considered, you know, sort of a proto Dark Souls in some respects, just because it's very much it has all the elements that. God damn it! That's the problem with playing this legit, is we got to see that. Yes, you know, Drac, you're gonna go to the strip club, you're gonna meet up with Duke Nuke, and have a grand old time. But yeah, you know, used to be gaming companies, you could pretty much. It was a safe bet that a Capcom game coming out was going to be great. It was a safe bet that a Konami game coming out was going to be great. Now, you know, you can't really trust anything. It's like with BioWare Dragon Age 2 coming out. You know, before it even came out, I knew I was not going to really like it that much. Now, I am going to give that game a second chance and see, because I know more about it now than I did back in the day. Back when it was initially coming out, I didn't know they only had like a couple months to work on it because EA is terrible. But, you know, I had high hopes for the Dragon Age series. Dragon Age 2 came out, and it was like, what is this crap? This is nowhere near as good as the first game. But BioWare really was the last company that I used to get excited for. Because, like, Mass Effect 2 is coming out, gotta pre-order it. There were some games that I used to pre-order, like AVP 3, but as time went on and the games got shittier and shittier, I just, you know, I just stopped trusting in them. I just figured they were going to be terrible, or they were not going to be nearly as good as advertised. Like, you know, game trailers and stuff like that don't get me excited for anything anymore. It's like, yeah, so what? That's really just how I feel when it comes to a lot of these new games. It's like, yeah, so what? Like Battlefield 1, for example. You know, when it came out, I was already like, yeah, so what? So the fuck what? And you know what? The single-player campaign is crap, and I shouldn't be surprised. I really shouldn't. That's why so many modern games. That's why Doom was such a pleasant surprise for me, because it was actually, you know, good. And I just am sucking insanely here. Okay. Maybe because I keep forgetting the controls. So I'm getting completely wasted by these bosses. All these bosses aren't new. This is just the first boss, so it's pretty easy. It'd be easier if I could just, God damn it. God damn it. Oh, you know what? Screw it. Give me that potion. I did this the first time I played it, and I'll do it this time as well. I just hate having to use a goddamn potion. It just feels like I'm giving up, you know? But it's like, that's why I was so surprised by Doom, and how good it was, because I expected it to be about as bad as, you know, a lot of those other games. I did not expect what we got, you know. It's like, okay, yeah, the trailer doesn't look bad, but then again, I think really, I started getting really jaded when Colonial Marines came out. I think that was like the final nail in the coffin. Sweet, leveled up! It was the final nail in the coffin, you know? It's like, okay, whatever. It's like, I didn't really see the trailer for BioShock Infinite either, and I didn't really care. And then when I finally played it, I was like, okay, finally, here's actually a halfway decent game. But I honestly look at every game with as much suspicion as is humanly possible. Don't just assume it's going to be good because it has a company name on it anymore, because in many respects, a lot of these companies really are just names, you know? For example, like BioWare. BioWare doesn't have the same people in it. You know, id Software doesn't have the same people in it. It's just a name. That's it. It's just a marketing name. It's the same way with like Winchester. You know, like Winchester's manufactured in, you know, Japan, which is not a bad thing because all the best stuff comes from Japan. And let's see, we level up with life max up, which is always good. We'll find the save room and we will call it an episode. But like Winchester's made in Japan, you know, it's like, it's just a name. It's like, it said id Software on Doom, but it's like, I knew the id Software that they're using as a marketing name wasn't the id Software that we were all thinking of. It's just a company named id Software, but it's not really, you know. Because, like, I know John Carmack, Adrian Carmack, I think is his name, all the other guys, they were long since gone, you know. Which is sad, but, well, that's just what they do. Like, 3D Realms is another good example. It's just a name, but actually I like that company because I think Interceptor Entertainment, the guys behind Rise of the Triad, actually use that name. But in any event, I am your friendly neighborhood Generallotz, wishing you good Castlevania Lords of Shadow. Wait, no, Lords of Shadow. Castlevania Lords of Shadow, that's the first one, I think. But in any event, I'm Generallotz, wishing you good Castlevania 1, good Castlevania 2, whatever makes you happy.